We have the ultimate weapon, which no vampire can survive.
Today's video is going to be from the Vampire Diaries, and in particular, a focus on the origin story of the Brotherhood of the Five. Something that I honestly love about the Vampire Diaries franchise is the fact that it's not just all about vampires. There's so much lore to dive into, and the amount of detail on powerful characters, enchanted objects, old tales, legends, werewolves, hybrids, hunters, heretics, originals, it's all simply incredible, and it's no surprise that the spin-off shows, the originals and legacies, have been so successful. The Brotherhood of the Five is one of the coolest stories of the series, and I love that they were created in order to challenge the vampires' dominance. I'm going to talk about their story today, and I'm going to take you all through the original faction's beginnings, right up until how new hunters were born. So let's go back and start at the beginning. The Brotherhood originated in the early 12th century and were created by a woman known simply as the Witch of the Five. The Witch was a member of the Bennett family and also a descendant of Ketsia, echoing her original goal to see the very first immortal, Silas, destroyed. It wasn't only the first immortal that the hunters would be pursuing, but another creature that was seen as an abomination of nature, the vampire, as they stemmed from a very similar spell that was used on Silas. It is said that the witch created them with her dying breath, meaning she died shortly after the spell's creation, possibly due to the power of the spell overwhelming her. There can only ever be 5 hunters at one time, and I'll explain why that's the case a little later on in the video. So let's take a look at the first 5. The original Brotherhood consisted of 5 skillful warriors led by a man named Alexander. They were transformed by an extremely powerful ritual which gave them enhanced strength, enhanced agility and incredible speed, which allowed them to challenge vampires physically. They were able to sense vampires and identify them almost immediately, although in saying that it wasn't always the case. They would never act without properly confirming their suspicions. Along with their enhanced physical abilities, the men were also bestowed with what's known as the Hunter's Mark. This was a powerful tattoo on the body of every member of the Five. The mark begins at the dorsal face of the right hand and continues up the arm and across the chest, revealing the story of the first immortal, Silas, the death of his lover at Ketsia's hands, his entrapment, and the ultimate mission of the Brotherhood. It serves many purposes. It's a map, a story, a coded message, an empowerment, and a spell, all at the same time. It truly is an incredible piece of magic. The more vampires the Five killed, the more of the mark would be revealed on their bodies. It's not exactly known how many vampires each hunter needed to kill in order to expose the entirety of the map, but each member had a completed mark not too long after they acquired their powers. Speaking of which, now that the brothers could challenge the vampires, the Five set out on a mission to destroy every vampire they came across. They slaughtered hundreds of vampires across the Italian countryside, across towns, cities, publicly executing them with stakes to the heart and exposure to the sun. Alexander would also publicly brand them demons and unnatural abominations. The Brotherhood garnered a fearsome reputation amongst the vampire community, and after some time attracted the attention of the originals, who just so happened had already attracted the Brotherhood's attention not too long before. The Five set out on destroying the original vampires, which would in turn lead to the destruction of all vampires due to the link between the original and their creation. Then, they could finally pursue the goal to find Silas and administer the cure to him. Although there was 5 members, Alexander was the only one we got to truly actually learn about. There's no information whatsoever on his fellow members, which is quite disappointing, because it's at this point in the video I would have loved to do a character profile analysis on each member. Even the information available on Alexander will be covered in this video alone. So the Brotherhood had only seen success up until the point they crossed paths with the originals. It's a very interesting story, so let's take a look at it in more detail. Knowing the original siblings could not be killed as other vampires could, the Five had a witch create daggers from the ashes of the white oak tree. This could still only neutralize the originals to the point of defecation and needed to be left in the body in order for it to still remain effective. However, with that being said, with all originals being neutralized, they could be hidden away very deep underground, never to be found. We've seen how effective Klaus used these daggers over the years when his siblings disobeyed him. But anyway, let's continue. Elijah was the only one of the original siblings that seen the Five as a threat. The others unfortunately did not, and even Rebecca began a romantic relationship with Alexander. However, this was because Alexander already knew who Rebecca was. Now, it's not exactly clear if his feelings for her were genuine and they were just overshadowed by his desire to kill vampires, or if he was just using her to get close to the family. Elijah actually fooled Alexander into believing he was a human that wanted to see the extinction of all vampires and pretended to actually assist him. In return, the hunter opened up to the original about who he and his brothers were and what their goal was. It wasn't long before all originals' identities were discovered by the Five, and they set a plan in motion to neutralize them all. Rebecca was daggered first as her feelings for Alexander clouded her clear thought and judgment. The four remaining siblings were lured into believing they were attending a slumber gathering where they eat, drink and all sleep in the same house. They were all daggered in their sleep with the white oak ash daggers, and would have been left in such a state had Klaus not awoken due to his hybrid half rejecting the effects of the dagger. Klaus violently slaughtered each member of the Brotherhood, and it was then that the failsafe part of the ritual was activated, the Hunter's Curse. When a hunter is killed, the person who killed him is tormented by severe hallucinations from the dead warrior. It was far worse for Klaus as he began to suffer from hallucinations from all five members, which took multiple forms at different times, which means Klaus barely had a moment that did not see him be mentally tortured into attempts on his own life. However, as he was indestructible, he was unable to do so when he tried. Even with the effects of the Hunter's Curse, it seems that the Five had not been destroyed as it was once believed. The final effect of the spell was that potential hunters could eventually take up the mantle of their fallen brothers and carry on their quests. When a hunter is killed, the hunter's mark appears on another, and that hunter begins to feel the changes that come with being a hunter. However, there was situations where potential hunters did not act on their urges and the mark moved on from them. It took a total of 52 years, 4 months and 9 days after Niklaus killed the original 5 hunters for all of the 5 to be replaced. This also broke the Hunter's Curse and released Klaus from the hallucinations. 52 years is a very long time to go through such mental torture for Klaus. With that being said, everyone, that brings the end of today's video on the origins of the Brotherhood of the Five. Let me know in the comment section below what other origin stories from the Vampire Diaries you'd like to see, or maybe another franchise. Thank you so much for watching. Please make sure to hit that subscribe button, the like button, and turn those notifications on completely. Click that bell. I will see you all for the next video from Vampire Folklore.